It's here. I got it, and it's finally in my hands. After 4 years since its original release, I can finally say that I am now an official owner of the Steam Deck. 64 gigs. But I am an owner nonetheless. Now let's not kid ourselves here. I was originally going for a Steam Deck OLED model, but as of the making of this video, every single model of the Steam Deck is out of stock on Valve's website. But prior to this, the ones that were in stock was the refurbished models of the Steam Deck OLED, because I saw a post on Build a PC sales on Reddit, so I was trying my best to check out a refurbished model. But no matter how hard I tried, I would never be able to check out. I would only get into the cart, but never check out. So ultimately, I never got the opportunity to buy it off the website. And even if I wanted brand new ones, just say fuck it, let me just pay off the new one. Well, regardless, I was paying it off anyways, so it's like whatever. But it's like, even if I wanted a new one, I can't get one anyways. I would have been screwed in that regard anyways. So now you're probably wondering how I got my model. Well, I usually get my electronics and stuff from eBay, but when I checked on eBay for Steam Decks, obviously they were taxing. The prices weren't really that good. It was like $400 or $500. It was LCD. It was like 256 to 512. So I would still have to get an SSD anyways. So it's another $100 on top of that. So I was like, these prices are not it. So what I did was I went on to Mercari and I searched up Steam Deck LCDs. Honestly, I'm not picky about LCD or OLED. It doesn't really matter that much to me, because I'd rather just have one at all. It doesn't really bother me that much. I'm not really that picky about all that sort of shit. So the one that I got on Mercari, the price was a bit high, but I managed to knock that price down to even $300. So with tax and all that, that price would be around, let me see on my phone. The price was $332.56 for the Steam Deck LCD 64 gig. And I forgot to mention, it came with a 256 SD card. I forgot to mention that. It came with a 256 SD card. So you could technically call it, 256 Steam Deck. It doesn't really matter. But, $300, give or take, for like a Steam Deck. That was a steal, honestly, because if I check right now for Steam Deck LCDs or whatever on Mercari, it's around $400. It's still LCD and it's like 256 or 512, and I still gotta upgrade the SSD anyways, so it's still more money. So I got a bargain, honestly. I believe I got a bargain. Now, I didn't want to start making this video until I was sure that the Steam Deck was paid off in full. Yes, I know, from day one, I knew in my mind I was going to pay this thing off, and I managed to do it on time, no late payments. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't have any late payments. So I paid it off on time. So now that I paid, I can play. And honestly, there's probably better deals on the second-hand market, like your Facebook marketplaces and all that. Like, for example, my brother just told me the other day, like, he saw a Steam Deck for like $200, and I told him he should have just got that, because he's looking at my Steam Deck like he wanted, and it's like, he should have just got that. That's cheaper than what I got. He should have just got the one for $2, because I had to pay $3 for mine. So it's like, either way, I already knew I was paying it off regardless, and I'm glad I did. So now I could actually get to the fun part, which is actually using the Steam Deck. So now that I got the Steam Deck, what am I going to do with it today? Well, basically, I'm going to do the basic setup process, log in with my Steam account, do the, updates and sort of shit like that. Next, I'm going to upgrade this SSD that's in the Steam Deck. It has a 64 gig SSD. I'm going to upgrade it to a much larger SSD, and I'm going to be downloading a bunch of shit on the Steam Deck. Not too many things, because I don't want this video to be too long. There's way too many things that you could probably talk about the Steam Deck, so I'm going to download a couple things that matter to me, and hopefully won't make this video too damn long. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And here we finally have it. We have the Steam Deck LCD 64 gigs. Now let me just open this right up and let's get started. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Hello. Hello, how you doing? Look at this, bro. It's insane, dude. How crazy this shit looks. It's like, now that I got it in my hands, it's like, yeah. I see why certain games have to play with this big of a device, because if it's smaller, then you won't see certain, like, you know, UI like elements. You know, the screen gotta be, it don't have to be like majorly big, but it's like, it should be around like this type of size, you know, otherwise things will be too small, you know what I'm saying? But without further delay, let's get this shit a-rolling. Let's turn it on. Oh, you see that? No, you don't. No, you don't. Let me turn down that contrast, though. You see it. There you go. There you go. Let's go, dude. Alright, so let's start the setup process. So, let me just press English. I pick my time zone. Let me choose my network. Now it's installing. Let me wait for that to finish. Alright, it finally restarted and installed SteamOS. Now I'm going to sign in with my account. And here we are. Welcome to Steam Deck. Before you start playing, let's take a quick tour of the device. Press any button or tap the screen to continue. Alrighty. This is the Steam button right here. Press to access your library, stores, settings, and more. Press and hold to view Steam button shortcuts. Next, this is the quick access button. Press to quickly view your notifications, friends, lists, quick settings, and more. Up here is the power button. Press once to suspend or resume Steam Deck. Press and hold to access the power menu. Alrighty, over here are the volume buttons. Press or hold to adjust Steam Deck's volume. Boom. And last of all, down below is the micro SD card slot. Expand your deck storage capacity by inserting and formatting a micro SD card. Push the card to inject. You probably can't see, but yes, there is a micro SD card in the slot, 256 gigs. Set up parental controls. Steam parental controls are enabled via Steam families. Members of a Steam family can have one of two roles, adult or child. Any adult can manage parental controls for any child accounts in the Steam family. Press X to learn how to set up parental controls for this device. Press any other button or tap the screen to continue. Have fun! We hope you enjoy your Steam Deck. If you would like to see this tour again, you can access it from Quick Access menu, Help, Replay, Guided Tour. And there you have it, you guys. We're in the Steam Deck. Look at that shit. Insane. It's absolutely insane. Now, I do want to preface this. Prior to recording, I did turn it on initially and set it up beforehand just to ensure that the device actually worked. So, this is not the first time I've seen this, because I had to make sure that the device would actually work. But regardless, I'm still showing you the process to you guys. So, at least you got that going for us. At least you know that the device is functional. And I need to update this device too, because I believe the trackpads were kind of wonky until you update the device. So I need to update SteamOS. So let me just go to my settings, checking. Okay, say it's up to date. So, I mean, hell, if it's up to date, it's up to date. Now let's try installing a Steam game right now, just to show you. Let's install Awaria. I can install it, or I can stream it from any of my devices, on my ThinkPad or from my gaming PC. But I'm gonna install it. And there's the Steam Deck compatibility. This game sometimes shows mouse, keyboard, or non-Steam Deck controller icons. Otherwise, everything else should be functional. And I can either install it on the internal drive, which is not a lot of space, or the micro SD card, that's 256 gigs. But for now, we're going to keep it on the internal drive for now. The game is not that big anyways. So, let me just start download, transferring. It shouldn't take too long, honestly. So I'll get back to you when it's done. Alrighty, the game is finally installed. So let's try playing it right now. Boom. And it'll use the recommended template, controller template. So let's get started. One thing about this game is, like, I beat the game on my ThinkPad. So I'm wondering why the save is not transferred onto the Steam Deck. Is it dependent on whether or not there's cloud saves? I'm not necessarily sure, because it looks as if it's a brand new, you know, like a new save. Let me see what's going on here. Alright, so I'm on my ThinkPad, and yeah, this is my previous save file, because I beat the game, like I said, on the ThinkPad. And I don't know why it didn't transfer onto the Steam Deck. That's weird. I didn't see the cloud logo on this game in particular, so maybe that's why. That is odd, honestly. Let me try a different game. Let me try AudioSurf 2 and see if anything transfers from this game onto the Steam Deck. So let me try installing AudioSurf 2 right now. So let me install that right now. Alright, it's finished installing. Let's get into AudioSurf 2. The official layout. Gamepad with joysticks. That's interesting. On-screen keyboard. To enter text in this game, you'll need to open the on-screen keyboard manually. Open the on-screen keyboard. The Steam button and X at the same time. Okay. It's probably hard to see, but it says both Steam and X. So I have to keep that in mind for the on-screen keyboard. Alright. Alright, we're in the game. It's unmodded, obviously. And I need to mod this game. I'll probably do that another time. But for now, let me just see how it actually plays. Okay. Can I press the thing? Yes, I can. Okay. It's a bit awkward, but I can figure it out. Okay, let's start. Oopsies. Yeah, it's just, I could just use the ThinkPad, the trackpads, and just play like this. Now, once I get this game actually modded with songs that I actually like, then it'll be more fun. But you know, I'll probably let me just stick to the joysticks. Can I actually do? Yeah, I can use the D-pad. Let's see. Yep. Oh, I missed the I missed it. Damn, I missed it. That's tragic, bruh. But yeah, you know, AudioSurf 2 works perfectly fine, no issues. Matter of fact, they press this button right here. There's the performance. I got 2 hours battery life. I will replace the battery sometime in the future, but right now I gotta work with the battery I got. So let me go to performance view. Can I turn it on though? Oh yeah, I can. Okay, yeah, I can. You can't tell, but it's like, it's at 60. Yeah, this game don't take that much to run, honestly. Put it to the max, and that's what that performance overlay look. That's what it looks like. And yeah, there's not really much to show. It's just such a lightweight game, so. But it is interesting. When I play something a lot heavier, like, let's say, like GTA or something, it'll probably show a lot more. And I'm doing trash, but this is just a test play. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna just for that. Just for that. Can I stop? No, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. Steam. Okay. How you exit how you pause? Hold up. I'm so stupid. These buttons up here, I'm supposed to press those. You can't tell, but I was supposed to press that. It's not hard, I know. I'm just on the camera. It's not hard. It's not hard. But yeah, that is AudioSurf 2. What now? Works with any song. Browse music from your computer. Yes, I know. Thank you. I know. But that is AudioSurf 2. Absolutely no issues, and it runs perfectly fine on the Steam Deck. Now, if I want to exit the game, I just press the Steam button, and then go scroll all the way down to exit game. Yep, we're out of the game. Now if we go into our Steam settings under storage, we could see that our internal storage is 64 gigs on the SSD and 256 gigs on the micro SD card. So that obviously is not going to be enough for me. I want to download a lot of games. I want to do all types of shit. So what we're going to do today is upgrade this dinky old SSD. and we're gonna upgrade it with this WD Black 1TB M.2 2230 SSD. I bought this as well on Mercari for about $100 give or take, and I saved some money with a coupon. So this is gonna go into the Steam Deck using a different method. So basically, on Valve's website, it says, you know, after you install the SSD onto the Steam Deck, you would have to re-image SteamOS onto the new SSD. The way you do that, you need to use a USB-C hub, which I do not own at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this Oracle SSD type enclosure that I bought on AliExpress like a while ago. I was originally going to use this for my ThinkPad to upgrade its SSD, but I will have to do that another time. So I'm going to use this enclosure to basically like clone this SSD onto the new SSD, and then once that's cloned, I'm going to install the new SSD onto here, and then it's basically the same method. It's basically the same method, except not really, but it's gonna get the job done nonetheless. So, without further ado, let's get right into the upgrade. For cloning the SSD, I will be following a tutorial by the YouTuber Steam Deck Guy. Link will be in the description. Alrighty, so I got the WD Black 1TB SSD, and I have the Oracle enclosure right here. Got them both out right now. First thing I need to do right here is move this latch to the side and then push up, and that will allow this to release. Next, I will be inserting the SSD into the enclosure. Boom. There we go. I tried to put one of these plugs that it came with so that the SSD can stay in place into this one, but it wouldn't fit into any of these holes. It wouldn't fit into this hole, so I'm just gonna have to scrap that for now and use this thermal pad that it came with to kind of press down on it slightly. It's only temporarily. We're only using this temporarily, and once we're done with that, we can slide that back in. Boom, into the enclosure. Now we're going to use this USB-C cable that it came with to plug this in into the enclosure. Stay in place. There we go. Is there no place to lock it? No, but I'm just going to keep it like this for now. And then disconnect this USB-A section. Hold on. I need to disconnect this USB-A part so it can also be USB-C, and plug this end into the Steam Deck. And as you can see, our WD Black 1TB SSD is now being detected. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is switch to desktop mode. Alright, we're into desktop mode. As you can see right here, there's my mouse. And we need to go to the web browser. I don't really use Safari like that like I used to. I want to install Brave, so I'm going to install Brave with the Discover Software Center. Alright, so the keyboard should be Steam X and then Brave and then R2 for enter. There we go. So now we're gonna, okay, and then you press Steam X again to get rid of the keyboard. Alright, so now we're gonna install Brave. Alright, so the tutorial said to download balenaEtcher and to download Linux x64-bit. Before we install balenaEtcher, we need to go to System Settings, we go to Users, and we need to set a password. So let me set the password right now. Okay, the next thing we're going to do now is double click on it, and then we're going to extract the files. Just extract, there we go. And now we can double click on balenaEtcher right here. We're going to press execute. Boom. Alright, the next thing we're gonna do is click clone drive, show hidden file. The next thing we need to do is first we're gonna select the internal storage. Mine is a 64 gig SSD, so I need to click that. Boom. Okay, and then the target, and it's going to be this 1 terabyte right here. And boom. Alright, with everything looking ready to go, we're going to press flash. You'll get a warning. Are you sure the selected drive is not a storage drive? Yes, I'm sure. And there you go. Authentication is needed. And this is where you type in your password. And then once you enter your password and press enter, it should now be flashing onto the new SSD. So let me give that some time and I'll get back to you when it's completed. And just like that, we've cloned our SSD, and the new SSD should have all the original files and the games that I installed from the previous SSD. So it should work fine once I install the new SSD. So now that that's done, now that we've cloned the SSD, we can finally install the new SSD into the Steam Deck. So let's get into that right now. Alright, so with the new SSD installed, I can gladly say that my account is showing and my games are also displayed as well. And if we go into my settings, you will see that the internal drive is indeed 1 terabyte, and you can see for yourself that my games that I installed on the previous SSD have transferred onto this one as well. So the SSD installed is completely successful, and I'm really glad to have done it. I really wanted it to happen, and I wanted to be sure that my Steam Deck had as much space, not really as much space as I can, afford. And I felt like 256 or 512 would not be enough space for me and my games. So I'm glad I decided to do the SSD upgrade. Now with the SSD upgrade out of the way, we can finally install something known as Eddy Loader, which is something that can both beautify the Steam Deck and make the Steam Deck experience a lot better for the end user. And as you can see on the website, you can download a bunch of plugins. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to install it right now. So what you need to do first is switch to desktop, which I am on right now. Search up Eddy Loader or go to eddy.xyz and then scroll down, hit the download button. After it's installed, we want to double click to execute the file, and then we enter our admin password, and then we select the branch to install. We'll just stick to the release recommended for stable SteamOS. We'll just stick with that and just press OK. And just let that download and do its thing. Install finished. Install can now be closed. And then we're pretty much done for Eddy Loader right here. All we gotta do now is switch back to gaming mode. And then as we return to gaming mode, we press this 3 dots button right here, scroll all the way down, and there we have Eddy. So what we need to do right now is install some plugins. So let me just go right here to this marketplace right here, and as you could probably see, there's like a bunch of plugins to choose from. So I'm gonna pick a few plugins that I'm gonna show just for today, and then I'll just show off what they are. Alright, so I downloaded a few plugins, so I'm gonna go through them in brief detail. Only for a little bit. So we got CSS Loader. Let's open that up real quick. No themes. This is where you can download your themes. Let's look through them right now. And they got all types of themes. There's probably, you gotta go through shit ton of them. I might need that mobile battery one right there. That might come in handy later. Let me see what else. Lots of things for you to customize your Steam Deck. Ooh, that CRT filter too. That's gonna go there like later on. There's so many to choose from, so you just gotta go in and look and take your pick which one you like the best. There's so many of them, bro. What? Yeah, I gotta look through all of these on my off time to see which one I actually want. Next we got Proton DB badges, which basically shows whether or not your game may be compatible with the Steam Deck. For example, let me just back out real quick, go to Audio Surf 2, and as you can see, the badge says Gold, so that means it should run pretty well on the Steam Deck, and I showed you earlier that it does. And let's say I want to download Marvel Rivals, it's Gold, so that should be good to go. But some games, like for example, like Imamushi, like there's no reports because not a lot of people play it. But like games like Assetto Corsa Gold rating, they should work, but you still gotta check on the website just to be sure. So that's Proton DB badges. And the next plugin, we got Wine Cellar. So let's say you're running a game and it's not running too good right now, you can switch the version of Proton that you have currently and switch it to another one. Let's say I want to, like manage it. Let's manage real quick, and then as you can see, I only have like one right now, but I can download whichever Proton version I want, or whatever this is. I don't know what these other ones do. I know what Proton like GE is, so I know what that is. So if one version of Proton is not working with a certain game, I could just switch over to another one, that type of thing. So that's what Wine Cellar is. And then we got something called Animation Changer. So if I press Animation Changer, you can switch your animations for, your boot, suspend, all types of things. So let's look through animations, And like I said, just like with CSS Loader, there's a ton of animations as well to choose from. I remember I saw like a Dreamcast one. Let me look it up. I think I'd go with this one right here. You can't hear it, and I'm gonna tell you why momentarily. But that is the boot. So let's say I wanna download it. Let me press download. Boom. And it's downloaded. So now when I go back, it should be under installed animations. And then if I want to change the animation, the boot animation from default to Dream Deck, I can do so. And then we're gonna try it right now. So let me turn it off and turn it back on. Okay, I know why it was still showing the startup as it was default. That's why I have to change it to Deck Startup. So let me just select that, and then it should work now. So let me try rebooting the Steam Deck again. There you go. Now it's working. Boom. It looks better in person because of the dumbass phone camera and all that, but it works. The boot. I don't know if it said that the directions in the animation changer, like directions, but I had to look up a Reddit thread, so I'll link that below. But it does work. It does work for sure. And the last plugin that I have for today is Magic Pods. Now, in the description, it said, you know, like AirPods, like Beats, or Galaxy Buds. But I wanted to see if my Skull Crusher ANCs work on them. So let me put them back on my head. So if I go to Magic Pods, then I go to the headphone section. You have to connect them to Bluetooth on the Steam settings prior, and then go to the plugin. So if you don't see it, that's why. But as you can see, it shows my headphones right here, and then I press it and I hear the prompt. So it is connected to the Steam Deck. So I don't have to go to the Steam settings and then go to Bluetooth and then, you know, do all that. I could just, you know, press the 3-dot button, go to Magic Pods, and then just press, you know, my headphones, and I'm good to go. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to install today is a program called Lutris. It's basically like a launcher where you could launch, like, you know, it's kind of like Steam as well, where you can launch your PC games, but it's like you can launch like other games that you may not see on Steam, like Jumpstart First Grade or something. You gotta get those games yourself, by the way, regardless. But what we're going to do today is install Lutris. So what we're going to do is install from the Discover Store on the desktop. So let me let that install. After we install Lutris, let's launch it. And right now it's going to be downloading some dependencies and all that sort of stuff. I'm gonna let that do its thing. And this section right here is where all your like games could be. And it's not just PC games. It's not just PC games either. It could be like emulation and stuff like that. And also you can, you know, log into like your GOG account, your Epic Game Store accounts, all that sort of thing. So it's another type of launcher, so to speak. So you could just play all your games on, you know, Lutris as well if you really want to. I'm gonna add Lutris to my non-Steam game, but before that I have like 2 more things I want to install, at least hoping they're on the Discover Store, so give me a second. Next we're going to install Bottles. Now in the description it says you can run Windows software. Now, like Lutris, you can install Windows games on Lutris as well, but I also like to use Bottles as well. I use both of them on my ThinkPad, so I'm gonna install Bottles as on here as well. So they install Bottles, and the next thing we're gonna install is Local Send, which you can share files to, you know, your different devices, like AirDrop. It's like AirDrop for like iPhones and your MacBooks and all that. I like Local Send. I use it for my phone and the ThinkPad and all that. So I'm going to install that on the Steam Deck as well. Let me install Local Send. Bam! Quick as fuck too. Matter of fact, let me download Jellyfin as well so I can connect to my Jellyfin server. If you haven't watched that video, please go watch that. But I'm going to install Jellyfin so I can watch the videos from my server onto the Steam Deck. So I'm going to install Jellyfin right now. Boom. Alright, so let's say I want to add a non-Steam game to my Steam Deck. What I can do is go to Lutris, for example, right click with L2, and then click Add to Steam Deck. And then when I go return to gaming mode, and then I scroll to non-Steam, I can see Lutris right here. So I don't know how to get the artwork for Lutris, like the logo for Lutris. If you guys know, you could write down in the comment section below. But Lutris is added as a non-Steam game, and if I play it, let's see what happens if I launch it. There we go, Lutris. Just good old Lutris, and it works just fine. Psych, Lutris is kind of wonky because I can't use my, trackpads to move the cursor. So it's kind of like I have to use like my finger, unless I want to add a game or something. Hold up, add a game. I gotta do it like that. I don't know about all that, but maybe I should just have it stick to desktop. So I mean, it launched just the same, so I got that going for me. Oh, one more thing I forgot to download as well is Vacuum Tube, so I could be able to watch YouTube on my Steam Deck. So let me install Vacuum Tube. Alright, got Vacuum Tube installed and I added it to Steam. Now let's run it. There you go. Alright. Then I could just press get started and I could sign in with my phone. Let me do that right now. And as you can see, I'm signed into my YouTube account and I could just scroll on and watch YouTube on the Steam Deck, bro. What? It's insane, bro. Just literally just watch YouTube ad free too. What? Wow. This is insane, bro. I could just have this like just set up on a table or something if I had a case, with a kickstand. I don't. When I get one, I probably will, but I can just have this on the table, just watch some YouTube, and I'm good to go, bro. Now we can finally get to what I would call the main event for me, because what mostly I would like to play on the Steam Deck besides stupid screen, besides PC games, is, emulated games, not just like, your PS1, Dreamcast and all. I want to play PS2, GameCube, all that. I know I can run it on this device because I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I was like, finally I can do it here. So what I'm gonna do in this case, I'm gonna install RetroDeck, and what I like about it is like it's containerized in a way, because I was looking at stuff like EmuDeck, but I didn't like the idea of having so many like emulated games just clutter up my Steam library. I didn't like the idea of that. I just want, RetroDeck as its own thing. So if I want to go to my emulated games, I could be like, ooh, RetroDeck, bing, and then it's completely separate. And then if I want to go, play my PC games, I could just, go on Steam. Go on Steam or Lutris or whatever have you. And it's its own thing and I don't have to worry about it. Type shit. So stop it, Steam Deck. Wake up. So I'm gonna install RetroDeck. Let me install RetroDeck. 5 gigs though, so this is gonna take a little minute. So I'll be back to you when it's done installing. Alright, it's done installing. Let's launch RetroDeck right now. Welcome to RetroDeck's first time setup. Read each prompt carefully during installation so everything is configured correctly. Choose where RetroDeck should store its data. A data folder named RetroDeck will be created at the location you choose. This folder will hold all of your important files: ROMs and games, BIOS and firmware, game saves, art data, etc., etc. Now, I just installed the SSD, 1 terabyte. That's probably gonna be plenty of room for PS2. PS2, that's like a couple gigs a game, like much larger than the previous system. So it's like I should stick to internal storage. Now, if I had a 1 terabyte SD card, I could probably just leave that on the SD card, but it's 256. But it's just like it's good, but it's like if up to like Dreamcast, PS1. After that, it's just like nah. So I'm gonna keep it on internal storage. So let's keep it as internal storage. Would you like to install the RetroDeck Steam controller templates and add RetroDeck to Steam? Needed for optimal controller support via Steam input. Highly recommended. Click yes. Would you like to install the RPCS3 firmware as part of the initial RetroDeck setup? That's the PS3 emulator. This process may take several minutes and requires an active internet connection. RPCS3 will launch automatically at the end of the RetroDeck setup. After the firmware installation is complete, please close the emulation window and to finish the process. I will click Yes. Would you like to install Vita 3K firmware as part of the RetroDeck setup? I'll install that as well too. Yes. RetroDeck is now going to install the required files. When the installation finishes, RetroDeck will launch automatically. This may take up to a minute or two. Press OK to continue. So I'm gonna let that do that setup, and I'll get back to you when it's completed. Enable Steam synchronization. This will scan your games for any favorited games in Emulation Station Desktop Edition and add them to your Steam library as individual entries. You will need to restart Steam for the changes. Not really. I don't want them cluttering up my Steam library, so I'll just click no. RetroDeck initial setup is complete. Either start RetroDeck or return to desktop. Place your game files in this following directory, and then place your BIOS and firmware files in that following directory. Have a fantastic time, RetroDeck team. Alright, so let's return to desktop. So what I'm going to do now, I want to try out like one system right now, and then later on after the video I'm going to transfer my BIOS and my games and all of that, but just for testing today, I'm going to try out Dreamcast, and then we're going to see how Dreamcast works on RetroDeck. So we just transfer the BIOS for Dreamcast and the game, and I'll get back to you when that's done. So to transfer my files, I need to open up Dolphin, then go to home, then go to the RetroDeck folder, and then we got all the folders right here. There we go. There's the BIOS folder and there's the ROMs folder. So I'll get back to you when I transfer the Dreamcast BIOS and the game to the folders. I'll get back to you when that's done. Alright, so after I dragged the ROM files and the BIOS and restarted Steam, we're back in Steam gaming mode. And as you can see, RetroDeck is in the menu. So let me just press RetroDeck and let's press play. And this is what RetroDeck is gonna look like out of the box. Ooh, what the fuck is that? This is what it's gonna look like. Pre-customization. You can customize this. You can watch a Retro Game Course video if you want more information about that. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna change the scan the artwork for the game and all that, because right now I don't see any artwork. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna get back to you when I'm done. And here's RetroDeck right now as it is, you know, customized with a different theme. And you can see I kind of like this theme, honestly. Once I have more games, it'll show all the systems that you have, you know, like, you know, Game Boy Advance, that sort of thing, you know what I'm saying? And for the sake of size comparison, this is the Steam Deck, and this is the RG40XXH running newly as well. It's the same theme, but you know, I got more games on here. It would look like this once you put your games on here. See, this could fit in like your pocket, your purse, whatever have you. This can't. This can't fit nowhere but its carrying case. So it has it, both of these, you know, devices has this uses regardless. Now with that out of the way, let's open up a game. Let's play Crazy Taxi. Of course I'm gonna play Crazy Taxi, like why not? Let's launch it. Boom. Bing, just like my boot intro. And of course, seeing as this is just Crazy Taxi, is gonna run smooth. Although when I picked, you know, arcade, it was like the audio was like glitching a bit. I don't know why. This should be more than powerful to run Dreamcast, but it's running smooth right now. And also I don't feel any rumble. I don't know why rumble's not working. I could barely feel anything. Like look, let me hit a car. Hold up. Let me hit a car. I barely feel it. I don't feel no type of like haptic feedback at all, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's still, I'll still play. It's like, it feels better with like rumble. But besides that, Crazy Taxi works just fine. It's like 90% there for some reason, but it's like those audio glitches is kind of throwing me for a bit. Matter of fact, let me show you. Let me show you how it sounds like. Hear that? That's not normal. That's not normal. It's only that part. But that part right there, that sounds fine. So I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it's a RetroDeck issue or whatever. Maybe if I install RetroArch individual like standalone, it'll probably work better. I don't know. But other than that, Crazy Taxi just works fine besides the rumble. I know I'm going the wrong way, but here ain't no menu. It's gonna work just fine. Woo! It's gonna work just fine. It works just fine. see the trolley? It stopped. Let me just... I know. I know. No issues. Not really. There's like the one issue, like I said, but it's smooth though. It works fine. You want to sniff? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, albeit a bit scatterbrained. But like I said, there's so many things that you can do with the Steam Deck that I myself cannot cover in, you know, it'll probably take hours, and there's so many YouTubers that's probably, you know, covers this thing to death. It's been 4 years since its release, so there's plenty of content to go around. So I'll put all the links of the videos and the guys that helped me out with this setup in the description down below, as well as the enclosure if you guys want that. Doesn't necessarily have to be that one, but that one happens to work well for me. It worked. But you know, like I said, the Steam Deck, once I actually, you know, finish editing this video, I'm gonna actually put so much games on here, like PS2, all that games. I want to play Animal Crossing on here finally. I was playing Animal Crossing, like the N64 version on the RG40 but it was like, it was performing alright, but then after a while it would freeze. So I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. It's like I still wanted that urge to play Animal Crossing still, you know, and urge to play PC games in a handheld format. So that's why I still wanted to opt for the Steam Deck. The next thing that I want, what I don't have the money for, is the Thor, so I can retire my 3DS and then just use the Thor. Because if I break my 3DS, I'm fucked. If I break the Thor, I'm still fucked, but not as fucked. If I broke the Thor, it's like, it still hurts, but it's not gonna hurt that bad, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, there's so much fun to be had with the Steam Deck, and I'm gonna have a lot of time, you know, a lot of fun setting it up. And I know I didn't show a lot, but I hope you guys enjoyed the amount that I was able to show of this thing. So if you liked the video, please hit the like button down below and comment down what else I should do to the Steam Deck, you know, like how to put like the custom art on the vacuum tube and, you know, other non-Steam, you know, apps like that. You know, comment whatever you want down in the comment section about the Steam Deck. That could help me out as well. And if you want to see more videos from me, then you can hit the subscribe button down below. So that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Later.